Hey world, this is Dr. William Clark for the Dr. William Clark podcast. Glad to be with you for another episode of our podcast and glad we're together, coming together to learn together. And I enjoy learning with you and growing with you as we journey through this life of trying to get better at running our nonprofits, leading, building them, etc., and ultimately serving our customers. That is why we're in this business, right? That's why we do what we do. So I'm glad to be your host with the most in this podcast. And I want to talk a little bit about a topic I think that might be relevant to a number of you, particularly if you're struggling to make it happen. And that is, what does it take to win a grant? There are a number of you who listen to this podcast and you are focused on getting your first grant, landing it, securing it, putting yourself in position to do the work that you believe you are called to do. And as a nonprofit community, we are highly focused on the calling of the work, the heart behind it, the reason why we're motivated to do it. But then also we are confronted with this reality that we must generate revenue, figure out how to pay for it. That is an important thing to figure out. So some of you may be asking yourself, what does it take to win a grant? What does it take to get my next grant? You gotten your first grant, but you've been in a drought and you're trying to figure out what's the issue, what's going on. So I want to provide some thoughts to help you process through that. And let's have this conversation. So here's the first thing I want to process with you. And that is, you need a product and or a program. Now, we don't sell a thing when it comes to nonprofit services. We ultimately sell a program to a funder who says, yes, I'm going to buy into what you're doing. Yes, I'm going to support what you're doing. And I'm going to give you a grant, a check. I'm going to give you money in exchange for making that program a reality. And ultimately, if you are serving people, serving a community with your program, or you have your product is more natural, right? So animals, farmland, natural habitat, etc. Whatever the case may be, you have to produce results in exchange for that grant. For human-based programs, you got to have people walking into the program. You got to have butts and seats, right? You need your account to be up there so funders know that their money is going to where it needs to go and that people are in fact benefiting from what you said they can benefit from. If you are doing something more nature-based, animals, land, etc., air quality, water quality, etc., there needs to be measurable results. And in all instances, when it comes to our business, you need to measure your results. You need to have a product that you're offering, a program that you're offering, where you can, in fact, measure the progress, right? Measure the progress of air quality improving, measure the progress of water quality improving, measure the quality of life of animals, if that's what you're into, or farmland, or measure the quality improvement of the life of people who are walking into your program and taking your program. You need that. And you may be saying to yourself, well, I got that, Doc. I mean, I really got it down. I really got it down. And what I would tell you is I have no doubt that you got it down. But what I notice quite a bit is that people that have a programmatic thing ready to go, they have a product ready to go, they struggle to communicate and articulate what they are into in a way that attracts a funder, right? And this leads into one of the other things I want to talk to you about, right? There needs to be a mastery of the grant writing process, because ultimately writing a grant is all about the articulation of what your product is. It's all about you telling people, particularly funders, what you are doing, what you are into, how you got into it, and how you're going to continue to sustain it. And if you struggle with articulating that, then you're going to struggle with getting grants. Now, again, some of you may be saying, I do that. I do a really good job of that, but I don't know what's happening. I will tell you that when I am having conversations with people and they're talking to me about their thing, their nonprofit, their program, etc., if I have to ask follow-up questions to better understand what you're saying, not because I'm curious, but because I need to understand the basics, then there's a problem. And I'm going to give you this piece of advice that has helped me over the years, and I'm going to share it with you in this case too. I was a young preacher, and I had asked my mother for feedback one time earlier in my preaching career. And she said it was good, you know. I was like, Okay, thanks, Mom. But then she gave me advice that has fueled me ever since. She said, if you can't preach a sermon that a third grader can understand, because we had a multi-generational church, kids, adults, teens, seniors, all were in our church. She said, if you can't preach a sermon that a 3-year-old can understand, then you got a problem. And what she was getting at is your language needs to be super simple that a third grader can understand and say, oh, I get that. Oh, okay, I need to do this, do this, and I'm moving towards the right direction. Now, that has fueled me. I will tell you this too. As a doctor, I have learned that hard lesson. They taught us that more is not more. Big words does not mean a thing. And I think people assume that the more big words you use, the more smarter you sound. Actually, no. That's not true. And I'm going to close this particular feedback loop with this. I posted several weeks back this post on my social media pages that said it takes a genius to simplify the complex. It takes a genius to take what is complex and make it super simple that anybody can understand it. When you think about the simplicity of some of the art that we celebrate, it's simple, but yet complex. If you think about some of the complex businesses that we are aware of, right? One of the most famous is Apple. They have made the complex science of computer science and coding simple. That your grandma has an iPhone. It's so simple that your kid who's 1 year old can play with an iPhone. It's so simple that members of our community that may have a disability can readily utilize and manipulate their products. They've made the complex so easy to understand that any and everybody, if they choose to, can pick up their product and easily manipulate it to get the job done. It takes a genius to make the complex simple. And I share my mother's feedback, I share my thoughts from my doctoral work, and I share the example of Apple with you because if you're trying to get your next grant, if you're trying to sell your program and you're struggling to make that happen, it could be that you're not articulating the complex concepts of what you have in simple terms. If you ever want to master the grant writing process, the short story is you got to be able to tell your story in an effective way that makes a funder say, I got to give you my money. I got to get rid of this money to support you. And even though you may feel that your vision is compelling, you may feel that what you're saying is spot on and that you are doing the most with the words that you got on paper, I'm going to tell you now, again, listen to the advice of my mother, where she said, if you can't explain it in a way a 3-year-old can understand it, you got a problem. If you can't articulate your plan, if you can't articulate what you're about in 1 to 2, maybe 3 sentences, you don't know what you're doing. And I'm talking about with excruciating detail, can you do it in 3 sentences or less? That people can say, oh, I got that. Need me to explain more? No, I got it. You ever done this before? Nope, but I understand what you're saying. That's where you got to get to. So you got to have a product and a program. You got to master the grant writing process, which is mainly about telling your story. I can get super technical about what's in a grant application. I can explain to you how to fill it out, all that good stuff. It doesn't mean a thing if you don't know how to articulate your story in multiple variations and at multiple levels, both at a high strategic level and a low granular level. Another thing you need in place in order to win a grant is a team. I cannot tell you how important teams are. I cannot tell you how important teams add value to the work you're doing. I cannot tell you the role that teams play in making a grant come alive, making a revenue opportunity come alive. I cannot tell you how much I lean on the various teams I'm part of to make a dream a reality. If you're in this thing saying, I alone can fix this community problem, and I alone am the solution bearer to my community's issues, then you've missed the whole point of starting a nonprofit. You've heard me say on this podcast many times that a nonprofit is a business. And a business, yes, can be ran by one person. Yes, you can automate everything. But once you get into the business of serving people, serving communities, serving industries, serving our natural habitat around us, you need an infrastructure of people. You need teams in place to help you execute that vision. It is the same when it comes to grant writing. You need a team to help you process through the grant writing process. And you may be asking, how do I get it? Do you have a board in place? Do you have any volunteers in place, especially if you don't have any money to pay for a team? And if you don't have any of that stuff, I would start there because that's the free expense associated with building a team. But when it comes to getting things done more robustly, more consistently, more effectively, more efficiently, you're going to have to start looking at gig economy, the gig economy to get things done. Are you on Fiverr.com? Are you on Upwork.com? Are you utilizing other software platforms that can help be an extension of you and the work you're doing? You need a team, family. You need a team. As in a relationship to a team, you also need partners and you need friends to do business with. You need people who believe in you. You need people who are saying, I'm buying into your work. I'm buying into your vision. In fact, we may have the same vision or overlapping visions, and we're going to partner together to actually make it happen. Who can you sign up right now? Who can you sign an agreement with right now who will say, I'm going to do business with you. I'm going to share the revenue with you. I'm going to look to you to share revenue with me, and we're going to tackle this problem. We're going to solve this problem together. Who do you have in your portfolio right now? This goes back to the team piece, right? You can't do this by yourself. You need people in your corner. You need people who can sign on and sign off on your vision. You need friends in the industry. You need friends in the nonprofit business who are not friends in the sense of you grew up together. I mean, you may have some of that depending on where you live, right? But you need friends, people that you just do coffee with. People who are in the business, but you may not do business with them, but you do coffee. And you lean on each other for conversation. You lean on each other for support. You lean on each other just to see what's going on, to give advice, to lend a shoulder, lend a listening ear, and vice versa. And maybe you'll do business with them at some point. Maybe. Friends, even if you don't do business with them, if you have good friends will keep their ear on the ground and let you know about opportunities. Even if they are in competition with you, they'll tell you. They will tell you about opportunities. They will tell you about opportunities that they are not a part of that they think you can get in on. If you got good friends, your friends are in senior positions who have influential roles, who are making decisions on behalf of their companies, and they can connect you with their own resources. If you got good friends in the industry, you got your friends sitting on boards, sitting in crucial places where you're trying to get into or you're trying to expand to. And your friend who is in an influential spot on the board, maybe the board president, who knows, can say and recommend, you know what, I know an organization that can come in and we can do business with. Who's on your team? Both in a day-to-day activity that you got going on and on a strategic level. Who is on your team? So before we go further, let's take a quick break and we'll be right back after this. Have you ever wondered how large nonprofits consistently generate millions of dollars? Have you ever wondered how to write the perfect grant or how to successfully manage a grant or even how to find money beyond grants? Hi, my name is Dr. William Clark, and I'm the creator and instructor of What You Should Know Before Applying for Grants. This masterclass has over 28 modules of training, and it comes with tools, tips, and tricks on how to generate significant money for your nonprofit. Some students have been fortunate enough to build six-figure programs, and others have been fortunate enough to triple their fundraising results because of this masterclass. Whatever your fundraising goals are, this masterclass can help you achieve them. To register your seat, simply go to mysixfigurefunding.com. That's mysixfigurefunding.com, and you'll be taken immediately into our student portal where you can access all of our trainings. You can take the trainings on demand, at your own pace, and at any time. You even can interact with other students and me all online from the comfort of your home, or your office. If you want to secure your seat today for this masterclass, what you should know before applying for grants, simply go to mysixfigurefunding.com. Again, that's mysixfigurefunding.com. And I'm looking forward to learning with you and growing with you as you achieve your fundraising goals for your nonprofit. So we're back, family. We're talking about what does it take to win a grant, and we went over a number of things. We talked about you got to have a product and a program, and we subsequently said that in order to actually put that product or program to use, you got to master the grant writing process, which is the process you use to tell your story to a funder who will then release funds to you if your story connects with their vision and purpose. Then we talked about you got to have a team of people who are going to help you with the day-to-day activity, people who are helping you execute the vision. And then we led into the idea of having partners and friends to do business with, and just to piggyback on that point again, I can't tell you how many times a partner, a friend, a colleague, a stakeholder that we've come across or we just seen each other in passing, how many times those relationships have come through in the clutch. And those relationships came through in the clutch in unexpected ways, at unexpected times, and has benefited the organizations I've been a part of. Has advanced our work, it has advanced our cause, our mission. It's put revenue in play that wasn't in play before. It made us a contender when we weren't a contender. Friends and partners, man. I mean, they come out of woodworks, and not only is it a recipient type relationship, it is a giving relationship too. Don't get it twisted. It is not about you receiving the benefits of the partnership or the friendship. It must be reciprocal, where you are looking out for friends. I can't tell you how many times I forwarded a grant opportunity to a friend because I was reading and I said, that seems to be a great fit for so-and-so. Forward. Or I saw a job opening just came across my desk and I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, that's not a fit for me, but I know who that might be a fit for. Let me just let them know what's going on. Yeah. How many times are you giving? Or you have a grant and you got a slamming application. You know that it's going to rock the world of the funder and the community. But then you say in the middle of the writing, you know what? Who's going to make this even more amazing? Our friends at such and such a location. Hey, Mary or Johnny, can you call over to ABC nonprofit and ask them would they be interested in being a part of our grant application, being a sub, and ask them can they do A, B, and C on this particular project, and let them know that we have put a budget in for XYZ, or ask them what it's going to cost for them to do this work. Do you know how many times that has happened where I have given opportunities to people, or I have seen my friends, my colleagues give opportunities to others, and I've been on the receiving end of those as well? It's amazing. Fundraising and grant writing is not just about you directly submitting a grant app to a funder. This is not like, it is like when you apply for a job, right? You can apply for a job on your own, see a job you like, put in your job application, submit your resume, and see what happens. But when you're looking for a job, that's not the only way you get a job. Many times you get a job because somebody referred you. If you got good friends. If you got people who know you, people who can speak up for you, people who can vouch for you. Yeah. It's the same way in the grant writing world and the fundraising world. So we covered those 4 things. There's one more thing. When it comes to what does it take to land and win your next grant. And that next thing is, my friend, you have to have a vision for where everything is going. Where is everything going with your work? Where is your work going to take the community? Where is your work going to take your company? Where is your work going to take stakeholders who are interested in the work that you are doing? What's going to happen because of what you are establishing, what you're building? What's the vision? Where is all this going to end up at? There has to be this grandiose perspective you're working on. And here's something I'll share with you, right? you're not going to necessarily have an opportunity to share that grandiose vision in a grant application because they're not designed for that. Grant applications are designed for almost certainly the here and now. What are you doing in the next 12 to 36 months? That's the focus of a grant application. But as a strategic leader, you're thinking about the vision of where everything is going at all times. And because you are a strategic leader, the vision is driving you, it is directing you, it is pushing you in every direction that you're actively pursuing. Now, again, it won't show up in your grant app, so don't feel bad about it. However, because you are after this grandiose vision for your organization, for your community, etc., for your customer, you are inherently going to discover and uncover strategies that are laying a foundation for the future that are actually fundable concepts right now. Now, this doesn't apply to every crazy thing you come up with, so don't get carried away. But man, there are times where you come up with, all right, we need to lay this foundational step in order to get here, and it's going to take us about 2 to 3 years to get there, but this foundational step is going to be the cornerstone of that. And when you do an analysis of that cornerstone, you realize, well, while it has a cornerstone value for the vision, it also has some immediate value. Now, that little cornerstone right there, we can do this, and this. Have we considered doing this before? No, we haven't. We need to write that up because that can be released right now. This can accelerate the vision from 2 to 3 years to maybe making it happen in 18 months. Yeah, your vision is everything as a strategic leader. And this goes back to everything I listed today in this podcast. In order to release yourself to be visionary, to be strategic, you need a team of people who are taking care of the right now for you, who are diligently working on the right now, who are digging into the right now, who are making sure that the outcomes of the right now are being achieved. And this allows you to think forward. It allows you to plan. There's so much I want to say. I'll try to end here, right? When your team, your day-to-day team, your day-to-day operations team is working on stuff and they start achieving stuff, one of the things I enjoy most, I do not look for perfection when it comes to getting stuff done. I believe that perfection is a result of repetition and practice, okay? I believe more in the idea of execution and what we learn from our execution than perfection. Because what we learn allows us to figure out what's broken, what's missing, where the gaps are. Then we can become perfect and create a system that allows us to systematize everything we do. But you can't systematize stuff unless you know what's broken. I value the work my teams work on because the mistakes are lessons learned. During mistakes, we may come up with an innovative idea. During mistakes, we may remove concepts and steps that we thought were cool, but no, they're not. They're not working. Because of mistakes, we can learn from the fact that we aren't good at this, but we know it's still important, so we need a friend or a partner to come in and do X, Y, and Z. The team helps you fulfill your vision. The team helps your vision come to reality. Your team helps things come to fruition. And if you're trying to be the team on the ground, serving the customers, and be the visionary leader, it's hard. It's impossible. It's not a reality. One's going to have to give, and you're going to have to make some tough choices, and you're going to lose some opportunities because you're trying to be everything by yourself. You can't. You just can't. Okay? What does it take to win a grant? You need a product or a program. You need to master the grant writing process. You need a team. You need partners and friends to do business with. And you need a vision for where everything is going and where you want to see it turn out or where you want to see it end. I hope this is helpful. I hope that this gets you on your journey or at least reboots you on your journey towards landing your next grant or your first grant. And if you're new to the industry, if you're new to the business, welcome. It is important to have you a part of our community in the nonprofit world, and we need more providers. But when you listen to this podcast challenges you to get better at your fundraising, at your grant writing, and at your leadership. This is the Dr. William Clark podcast. I'm excited that you stayed to the end and you were a part of this podcast. Share, like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next episode. Peace. Have you ever wondered how large nonprofits consistently generate millions of dollars? Have you ever wondered how to write the perfect grant, or how to successfully manage a grant, or even how to find money beyond grants? Hi, my name is Dr. William Clark, and I'm the creator and instructor of What You Should Know Before Applying for Grants. This masterclass has over 28 modules of training, and it comes with tools, tips, and tricks on how to generate significant money for your nonprofit. Some students have been fortunate enough to build six-figure programs, and others have been fortunate enough to triple their fundraising results because of this masterclass. Whatever your fundraising goals are, this masterclass can help you achieve them. To register your seat, simply go to mysixfigurefunding.com. That's mysixfigurefunding.com, and you'll be taken immediately into our student portal where you can access all of our trainings. You can take the trainings on demand, at your own pace, and at any time. You even can interact with other students and me all online from the comfort of your home or your office. If you want to secure your seat today for this masterclass, what you should know before applying for grants, simply go to mysixfigurefunding.com. Again, that's mysixfigurefunding.com. And I'm looking forward to learning with you and growing with you as you achieve your fundraising goals for your nonprofit.